All right, guys, the countdown has started. We're going to be getting into game number 6. Is it? Or is it
Five.
5? All right, I lost my ability to count. It's going to be on Kespa's Neo Planet S. Interesting map from Pro League. I've seen quite a few Pro League games. You have any thoughts on this map, Todd?
Yeah, man, don't all in Squirtle.
Squirtle's a pretty strong player, I have to
You
say.
saw that game, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Sophie
think
versus Squirtle.
yeah we were yeah I think we were talking about that yesterday with the sick hold.
That's so
And
insane, man. Every time I see this map now, I
I
remember
just
that game.
can't stop thinking about it. And I just keep thinking about the one EGTL game. I can't remember who the Protoss was, but he tried to send 5 probes with a fast zealot. I don't know. It was interesting, but we're going to be getting into this map now, spawning in the bottom left position as our blue Terran. He started down 0-2, but he's swinging things back. It is playing for Team Acer MMA. And spawning in the top right position, he started off 2-0 with some good aggression. Maybe he's going to switch things up back into that sort of style to take this last game. It's tied 2-2. He is from FXO.LoWeLy. You know,
And it doesn't look like he started overload, so no pull 9 on this map. I don't think it will be really good since there's a pretty long distance between the bases. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody take the gold bases on this map. Have you?
I think it was round 1. I saw a game. It was like a ZVP though, and the Zerg just pretty much went for early pool and then just immediately put a hatchery at the gold. And the kind of cool thing is once you have the first gold, unless it's like a TvT, you're pretty much guaranteed the second one if you have units there to control, like tanks.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I
Like,
want to note something interesting that I spotted. This game, MMA is blue. He was blue the first 2 games, but in game number 3, the first game he won, MMA was down 0-2 and actually switched his color to red, which I found very interesting. There's a lot of discreet like on GSL superstition about player colors. You know, if you're on a bad streak, you want to switch your color, see if you can switch things up, and if you're winning, you want to stay with the same one. Lowly's been yellow this whole time, but MMA switched to red when he was down 0-2, and maybe he feels that helped bring him back. But this drone's going to get a quick SCV kill. That drone scout coming in from Lowly again, that's a lot of damage to be able to do to kill a single worker like that so early on. Very nice pickup for Lowly, and definitely sucks for MMA.
I think red and blue are the first 2 initial colors of the 2 players when they join a game. So if MMA joins first, he's going to be blue. But if he joins second and Lowly hasn't changed color yet, MMA is going to be red. So Lowly then switches to yellow, but it's too late. MMA is already red. And then from there, it just doesn't bother changing. So as much as you might be right, I think it might just be
I
like
still
the standard colors.
I still think it'd be cool though. It's always interesting to see what kind of mind games players throw in there. But I guess we're gonna see. We have the pool follow up for Lowly. He's gonna be going for gas again, so maybe kind of realizes the aggression has been working. In game number 1, the 9 pool forced the cancel on the command center first. He did a significant amount of damage and was able to secure victory through that. In game number 2, he went for the Zergling Baneling bust and he was able to secure a second win in a row. So even in the last game that we saw, game number 4, Lowly was able to do a lot of damage with early aggression. He just needed to do a better follow-up. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went for aggression again. It's been working for him. MMA is going to go for this 1-Rax expand, of course. He's going to follow this up with the double gas, so we'll likely see him go back into that Hellion opening that we saw the last couple of games from him.
Yeah, and MMA, he has the SCV out on the map. He's not going to choose to do much more scouting with it. He's sending it back home right now. He has his second command center about to finish here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see them play again this type of big macro game they both seem to like so much, with Slowly going for Ling Infestor and his upgrades, and MMA going for his Bioforce, as well as a couple tanks.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Interesting things to note about this map. I watch a lot of Pro League, kind of do my own thing with it on the side. The third base, the forward area for it is pretty easy to wall off, but there are quite a few lanes you can use for pressure. If you want to expand any top areas of the map, you kind of really stretch yourself thin. Defending the entrance to the third can generally leave the entrance to the natural open a bit, so once you move into 4-base play, this map becomes very, very big in terms of defending drops and whatnot. But we're going to see a super fast lair out of LoWeLy. This is pretty different than what we've seen before, I think, Todd.
Yeah, it feels different, but somehow, like I said before, I feel like LoWeLy does not seem to like to go for mutas. So I still think this is going to be very quick infestor play, and he could definitely surprise. It will blow my mind here if he goes for mutas and win.
That's exactly why he should, man. He's gotta bring these mind games. I'd love to see something like that. Although I really think the best time for mutas would have been in the last game. I definitely don't think MMA would see this coming. He's going for that Starport Tech Lab opener, so it's going to be Hellion Banshee. 2-base Mutalisk is very strong against this, but I feel like he might have actually wanted to get his lair tiny bit earlier, but I'm not sure. There goes the Spire. It's going to start, so it is going to be Mutalisks. This is exactly what LoWeLy needs to do to win this game. He's thrown MMA the same look pretty much every single game past the 10-minute mark.
Oh my god, and MMA just started cloak. He was supply block for a second. He's going to be able to start his Banshee now. And this looks a little bit like a build over loss. I mean, a lot of things could still happen. But MMA, he hasn't scanned LoWeLy's main. He hasn't bothered. He's thinking, well, this guy, he plays infestors every single game. Why would I bother scanning him?
And this is gonna bite MMA. Oh man, so badly. There's a spine at the front, and I mean, from MMA's perspective, if you look at a Zerg player on 2 bases, you saw that he opened gas. I believe he scouted that. Then he sees the spine crawler up front. So a spine crawler with a gas opener for Zerg almost always means they're going for some kind of tech or aggression. And we have a Baneling nest on the way. Zergling speed is complete, and the Spire is going to be done soon. So MMA has to know that something is up. But he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. He might just be thinking that the Banshee opener is going to allow him to deal with any Roach play, but these Zerglings almost getting us around. 2 Hellions will die. The Zerglings are going to run around. He's going to catch 2 more of these Hellions. A huge loss for MMA. The Banshee rolling on up, but the Spire is now complete. We're going to have to see just how many Mutalisks we're going to get out of LoWeLy. He has enough resources to make 6 of them, soon 7, so this could be absolutely devastating for MMA. His engineering bays are completing very soon. I believe they're done. So 1-1 is going to begin, and he needs missile turrets right now if he wants to have any chance at holding this.
And you know what? The Zerglings, they saw the Banshee fly by, and immediately LoWeLy started an Overseer. He's going to have an Overseer in position and ready. 2 Queens to help defend against this Banshee. His Mutas just came out now, and I think he might be able to do so much damage. How do you think MMA can do here against this? He has to start turrets.
I can tell you from a Terran player's perspective, MMA just realized at the last second, he's like, oh snap, like this is very bad. I like, and one thing to note, he's trying to get a missile turret next to that tech lab. His stim is only barely halfway done, and it is in such a vulnerable position. Even if LoWeLy doesn't do any damage, he could swing in, kill this tech lab, and be way ahead because MMA won't be able to securely take a third until he has a lot of units. He's going to be without that stim, but here comes the Mutalisks flying in. There's only missile turrets on the edge of the base, none at the mineral line, so MMA doesn't really have anything to deal with this, and the Mutalisks are dealing a lot of damage right now. The 3rd command center delayed. He's just going to run out now. He actually doesn't manage to kill any of these 6 Mutalisks, and a big Zergling Baneling push coming into the main. The Banshee's not fighting to defend this. Mutalisks are coming back. This is looking very bad for MMA, but he hasn't lost too much just yet now. The unit's moving into his mineral line, though, and I fear the worst may be in store for MMA. Nothing to really deal with these Banelings and Zerglings, even though he's cleaned up most of the Mutalisks.
And I love how LoWeLy identified that MMA was going to be ready for Mutas here. He knew that MMA saw it, and he went for a big Zergling Baneling attack just after making about 8 Mutas. MMA, he committed on those turrets, and he definitely did not have enough ground. We had 2 empty bunkers. If those bunkers had been filled with Marines, MMA could have held a lot more easily this big attack from LoWeLy. So behind this, MMA is going to be down to 23 SCVs against 42 drones, except this time his 3rd orbital is going to be very, very late. We have the command center on the way in his main, but not nearly as quick as in the previous one. And LoWeLy behind this, he can just drone if he wants to. He can just keep on macroing and teching and keep on putting some pressure later on when MMA tries to take a 3rd.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to note is in the last game, when MMA took a lot of damage, he had the third orbital pretty much ready. His third orbital is complete now. He's moving into it. He's getting his armory, and there are a few things I just want to take really quick note of. One's done for MMA. We only have +1 armor coming in for LoWeLy. I'm not 100% sure if he has +1 attack. He does not, so MMA is going to have a pretty big, substantial upgrade lead for a while. I like using the 1 Corruptor, 2 or 3 Corruptors to deal with the Banshee harass. Sniping Banelings, though, is really, really nice. That's going to be able to buy him a bit of time if he wants to get that third. The Marines are going to stim forward. And the other huge thing is that in all of that, MMA saved that Tech Lab. He still has stim. He can still put on a lot of pressure, and you can use these Banshees to kill the Banelings. If he kills this third base, I don't think he's going to be able to. But if MMA can put on a lot of pressure, maybe kill some drones, force a lot more units, and he's forced 38 Zerglings out of LoWeLy. MMA really needs to be careful that he doesn't overextend here.
The Banshee in LoWeLy's third base right now with 20 kills. It's killing a couple more drones right now, and it's going to bring the drone counts down to 46, 45 now to 36 SCVs for MMA. MMA not committing to this attack, not stepping on creep, not stepping in LoWeLy's territory. He's just going to pull back for now. He's going to keep on working on his upgrades, maybe very soon here, since he made an armory. He hasn't started 2-2 just yet. He's going to be taking a third, which is going to be a little bit isolated from his main and natural. And LoWeLy, he's moving around with a huge juggling force. He's going to start morphing a lot of Banelings. He's up to 47 army supply to the 60 of MMA, but if he can get a good engagement, I feel maybe LoWeLy might have a chance. But this is going to be really tough.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult for LoWeLy to put on any pressure, I think. We have no tanks just yet. He actually loaded them up in his medevac, so they're not sieged. He has them, but siege mode is also not done yet, so this big Zergling Baneling push to the third could do a lot. Thankfully, he hasn't transferred any SCVs really just yet, but a lot of Marines could die here. He's going to need to split. Here they come, rolling in. The Zerglings not able to get us around to stop these Marines in their position. An amazing split coming out of MMA. These Banelings not doing anywhere near as much damage as LoWeLy needed them to, and the Zergling reinforcement should be cleaned up, but ew, amazing save on that tank. Wow, I thought he was going to lose. I mean, if he kills all the tanks, that's pretty strong because MMA can't push without tanks to cover his Marines, but he saves one of them, and now realizing the investment just made by LoWeLy, especially supply blocking him with that Viking that's been scouting around the map, it looks like he might have wanted to push that third. Instead, he's going to back off and just kind of try to harass with this Banshee, but MMA could have taken a lot more damage than that without having any tanks sieged versus Ling Baneling.
Yes, it was very important that you noted that he didn't have siege. He could have changed everything here. MMA not overextending again. He's just going to pull back, stay on his 3 bases. The thing is, he hasn't started 2-2 in all this time because he was very scared. I mean, when you keep fighting like this, you keep trading units, you lose army. You don't want to go down to 20 army supply and then have your 2-2 on the way. Yeah. This usually seems a bit useless.
As you say that, he actually starts the 2-2 now, so he's going to be a little bit behind in the attack upgrade department. He's almost actually even there, but he's going to be way behind in the level 2 armor. And in terms of significance for this, it's just going to mean that LoWeLy's Zerglings are going to be able to take a little bit more hits. I also want to note that we also have the Terran vehicle weapons now starting, so the siege tanks don't one-shot the Zerglings at the moment. So I feel like right now LoWeLy's in the best position he can be in to do a little bit of harass, to try to get a 4th base up, and he's going to start that 4th, but it always seems like his 4th base is really late. He gets to Hive Tech, but he doesn't really have the economy to move into Broodlord and Fester, and MMA just macros really, really hard. He's actually getting Concussive Shell now, preparing for any possible future engagement, but Zerglings are running into the natural mineral line, splitting them off, sending some into the main. The supply depot raises, but the depot was lost earlier on. These Zerglings are going to be able to take out a pretty decent number of SCVs, I think, but these Marines do come in just in time. Looking at the workers kill tab, LoWeLy has killed 47 SCVs this game, Todd. An incredible amount of damage done, yet MMA retains the supply lead.
Yeah, MMA, he has good macro, man.
He has amazing macro. Oh, man.
He's going to keep on pumping out units for now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a big 2-1 timing here for MMA. And I like his position. He has the supply lead. He keeps on dropping. He just raided a couple of Marines up there for some Banelings. He killed some Zerglings as well. LoWeLy, he's on 3 bases against the 3-base MMA. That's never really a position you want to be in. He started Hive now, but this is, 2-1 is going to finish now, and MMA is going to go for the very, very scary push.
Yeah, I feel like almost no Zerg player wants to be on 3 bases versus a 3-base Korean, but here comes another Zergling run by. He's trying to take out a missile turret. He doesn't actually have that burrow upgrade, so these banelings are going to roll in, but there's not much to buffer for them. MMA doesn't lose too much there. The bunker in the natural is actually going to draw the Zergling aggro, so he's not going to kill any more SCVs here. And I feel like MMA's in a great position, but Zerglings are also going to run into the 3rd base, and MMA has units there as well. So he should be able to take minimal economic loss here, and MMA is just holding this multi-prong aggression from LoWeLy so well. Absolutely fantastic positioning on his units. And LoWeLy's getting that hive now. He's had the Spire from earlier. He has a pretty solid bank, but he's going to need to get a really sizable Broodlord Infestor army. He's going to need a lot of Broodlords, I think, specifically because there's no Vikings really on the field. The one Viking that was made to kill Overlords for MMA was killed. But here comes the push. Do you think LoWeLy can stop this, Todd?
I don't think he can. He has Adrenal Glance on the way, 3-3, but he just started. MMA has to be careful not to go too much forward with his Marines without his tanks. He's going to keep on pressuring here. He has sieges. He's going to go through the middle of the map, actually, interestingly enough. Oh, he's hesitating right now. He wants to press forward, but there is still creep. LoWeLy already evacuating his 3rd base here, transferring all of those drones at the 12 o'clock position. Why is MMA not attacking here?
He started his 3-3. Maybe he's a little bit cautious. Possibly wanted to wait for that 2-2 to finish since LoWeLy did have it so much faster. But LoWeLy setting himself up for another run by here. The tanks do have that +1 attack, so able to pick off a lot of these Zerglings. There's a wall at the front of the 3rd, and I feel like LoWeLy's not going to be able to do too much damage with this either. We have 2 Marines running over to that top base. A lot more behind, though. And MMA's going to try to clean up some creep and do a little bit more damage here. But by the time LoWeLy breaks the supply depot wall down, MMA's already there. He has a 50 supply lead now. His harass to the 4th base will be stopped, but LoWeLy, he's going to need to make some plays. And he's actually going to go for Ultralisks, even though he has the Greater Spire.
And I feel like MMA's problem here is that he wasn't aware of the hive status. Last he scanned the main of LoWeLy, there was still a lair. They have been fighting and trading all the time. You never know when exactly the Zerg is going to make the hive and have tier 3 units on the way. So I can't really understand whether MMA thought that there was no hive on the way or there was already a knife on the way, which both of those possibilities might have triggered the way he didn't attack when he should have. And now he's going to go forward. His max 3-3 is almost finished. He's going for another command center. LoWeLy is going to try to defend, but he has less supply right now. MMA with the nice pickup here.
Oh, but the fungal hits those medevacs. He's not going to be able to get away. MMA is retreating the rest of his army back, but these corruptors should be able to take out this medevac. That's a decent chunk of supply there, but MMA still pumping out units. A little low on the mineral department, though. His main's running dry. The natural is also very low, and mules are causing this 3rd to run out a little bit soon. LoWeLy has a fresh base in that top center position. So given enough time, if he can whittle away the forces of MMA, he can pull himself back into a comfortable position somewhat. He only has 2 Broodlords, though, and I feel like even though there are no Vikings, the 2 Broodlords, it's mostly going to be like poking him rather than actually launching a full-on assault.
And MMA is adding on 2 more barracks. He was only up to 5 barracks, 2 factories, and 1 starport. I definitely think we're going to see some tech labs on those because he only has 1 of his barracks with the tech lab so far before, and he could not make many more orders against those Ultralisks, which he already spotted. I'm not sure why LoWeLy is pressing through right now because LoWeLy is not maxed, and MMA, LoWeLy is going to move in with all of his Ultras, his Banelings and his Zerglings, but MMA has so much army.
Yeah, there's a lot here for LoWeLy to crash through, but MMA trades pretty cost effectively. Has to watch out for some of those Banelings. They could do a lot of damage. Nope. MMA manages to take, he drops about 40 supply, but LoWeLy loses the majority of his forces, and at the same time, MMA crushes the top center base with a double medevac drop, and now LoWeLy has no economy behind this. He has a little bit of a bank left. He has some gas. He can get some Zerglings, some Infestors, but I'm not sure LoWeLy has what he needs to win this game anymore. He's dropped to 66 supply, Todd.
Yeah, the drop at 12 o'clock, definitely doing a lot of damage, getting rid of the base and all the drones there, and Hyun yesterday, he lost 2 maps before showing us how to beat his opponents. And MMA today is basically telling him, well, you think you're the only one who can lose 2 maps and then make a comeback? Apparently not.
Yeah, really, really, really solid macro. I can't stress that enough. We've had so many games, I believe like 2 or 3 of these games where MMA he took a lot of damage early on, but with just super strong macro, he was down supplies so much, lost so many workers, but he was able to come back anyway with just incredible macro, never stops making units. And if we look at the workers kill tab, LoWeLy's killed 58 SCVs this game. MMA hasn't fallen behind in supply since about the 14-minute mark, since he started getting his upgrades, since he got his third stabilized. And here comes the Doom push. He's saying, hey man, I'm sorry about your loss, but this best of 5 is going to go to me. I'm going to take out your last mining base. And there's the GG from FXO.LoWeLy. Acer.MMA takes the series 3-2, an absolutely fantastic comeback coming down from the brink of death at 2-0, Todd.
Yeah, very well played. I was actually extremely worried after the first 2 games that we might see a 3-0, but MMA bringing his game back, taking the victory in this series. He's going to be facing In Control next, and this should be a super interesting match as well. Guys, we're going to have a short break, and then we'll be right back with the next game.
Yeah, coming up next is going to be In Control versus MMA. Should be another good match, and we'll see you right after the break, guys.